Oh yeah, it's early night, early evening, early night. Might as well go looking around at this point. Go into people's houses, see what we can find. I do owe them a debt of gratitude. That does not mean I'll skip on any important loot here.
Howdy.
You're still wounded. Probably should see the doctor about that. I'm not stealing their medical supplies or ammunition or weaponry, anything like that. I'm going, yeah, I do want to steal things like this. The skill book. Chinese Army Special Ops Training Manual, so that's a sneak skill book. Skill magazines. There shouldn't be too many houses here. Again, it's a small community. With very few characters of note. Again, I'll leave them with their ammunition and guns. And their basic needs. Where is that goddamn radio? I'm hunting down the radios again because of copyright infringement things. I don't want to get such notices. With most of the cases you can just give them permission. Well, they're not asking for your permission, they're doing it, they're putting ads in their videos. But sometimes things don't go quite so smoothly and it's a huge pain in the ass. I could disable the music entirely, but the thing is, it is an important part of the game. I mean the atmosphere, and I know that uh, the ones owning the rights to the normal in-game music don't allow it to be displayed, be a part of the video as long as they can put ads in there. So that doesn't bother me at all. And music, especially if it's any good, is one of the most important atmospheric creators in a game. So just disabling it, I don't want to do that unless I'm absolutely necessary. Unless I encounter a site that basically bans the use of the video in some countries or
Howdy.
mutes them if it gets played. But if something like that doesn't happen, something's just drastic like that, I'll deal with it. In general, I do like games with good music. It makes a huge difference in how well you can get into the game, I guess. A good game that has good mechanics is a good and enjoyable game, even without the music. But I've been here before. It gives that little extra oomph, gets you into the game, gets you pumped up, things like that, and that is important. You don't really realize how important that is until you play a game that has great music and then just mute it. It makes quite a big critical impact. I don't think it would make too much of an impact in a game like this. It's still usually mostly in the background, quiet, creating an atmosphere, but it's not vital. still appreciate it though. It's not stealing, so I'm taking it. BB gun. I think BB guns are generally crap, more of a joke than anything. But I do think they're silent. So if you can find a special one that doesn't do crap damage, you have a fairly useful stealth weapon. Again, I'm more interested in pistols. I think that was Easy Pete though. Might as well talk to him. Might as well do the talking with the town people in general. They don't mind.
Howdy. What can Easy Pete do for you?
Why are you called Easy Pete?
Was a prospector until I decided to settle here to get away from the NCR. Now we'll just take it easy and help out with the Brahmin and Bighorners.
What's wrong with the NCR?
Don't get me wrong, the NCR's got a lot of decent folk in it. It's just that they make you part of them whether you like it or not. Towns like Goodsprings and Prim don't stay independent for long, not if you've got something the NCR wants. Still, the NCR keeps the Legion away.
Tell me about the Legion.
They're slavers, led by a guy named Caesar, or Caesar. Not sure how you're supposed to say it. A couple of years ago, they tried to take over Hoover Dam, but the NCR beat them back. The NCR didn't or couldn't finish the job, though. The Legion's got its strength back and is getting ready for another round at the dam. My money's still on the NCR winning, but you never know. We've been hearing stories about legionaries on the Nevada side of the river, so keep a gun handy. You don't want to get caught by them.
Hey, what's the big deal about Hoover Dam?
The dam powers a lot of New Vegas, and then there's all that clean water lying in Lake Mead, too. Anybody who owns the dam owns the territory.
I don't know how to deal with the NCR and the Legion quite yet. I'm sure it'll come naturally. Maybe I don't have to think about it. Yeah, you said you were a prospector, like digging gold and silver.
Nah. Means I poke through old buildings looking for working tech and such. Some folks just call it salvaging, but never liked the term. Way I see it, salvage means it's broken, near worthless. Me, I look for the good stuff. Guns, chems, spare parts. Good money in it.
I don't see salvaging implying quite that. That doesn't matter though. Did you ever find anything good while prospecting?
Nope. Had a pretty good claim once, way out east by the river, but got run off by raiders. Eventually got too old to keep going out.
Yeah. Why the big horners?
Meat and hide, mostly. Can't put a pack on them. You just lay down until you take it off. Can find a bunch of wild ones high up in the hills, but gotta be careful around them. They can put up a decent fight if cornered.
Can you tell me anything about Victor?
The machine? Harmless, no matter what Trudy says. She thinks it's hiding something, but I think it's just a broken down relic with no place to be.
Okay. Do you know anything about the people who attacked me?
The one in the fancy suit seemed to be calling the shots. That's as much as I know. Other folks in town might know more. Word of advice, though. If you ever catch up with him, Watch out. The man's got cold eyes like a snake. Can't be trusted, I'd say.
Okay, thanks for the advice.
Keep your gun handy if you go poking around some of the abandoned places around here, like the schoolhouse. Critters move in there sometimes.
Nice enough person. Easy Pete. There's Sunny. We don't want to talk to her anymore. Who's the other one? There's no other one. I think this is the night. Night lighting on a very clear sky. It's not dark in any way. You you can add mods to have proper darkness, but since the game has no decent lighting, flashlights or night vision things, I don't really mind using the very non-dark lighting here. If you're going to add darkness, you need to also add ways to mitigate the effect. Here I think there's one chemical, but that's all. So it's also preferable for recording purposes. Dark is fine, but if you can't see anything, that's not gonna be fun for anyone.
I'm done being nice. If you don't hand Ringo over soon, I'm going to get my friends and we're burning this town to the ground. Got it?
We'll keep that in mind. Now, if you're not gonna buy something, get out.
What the hell? What do you want?
Yeah, what was that you said about Ringo?
He's some traitor who decided he'd rather shoot than pay the toll for being in our territory. He's hiding somewhere in town. Would serve these idiots right if me and my guys shot the place up after we got payback on Ringo.
This area is your territory?
It is now. Me and the rest of the guys busted out of the NCR prison east of here and took over. Now we're calling the shots.
What were you in prison for?
None of your damn business. You ought to know better than to ask a man that kind of question.
How? Okay. Yeah, another change from Fallout 3. This is a speed check, and we have a speed scale of 12, so and we need 20 to successfully do this. It still gives us the option to try it, although it's clearly indicated that it won't work. So, yeah, I was just curious.
Like I said, mind your own damn business.
But I do like that it's no longer chance based. So if you have what it takes, the requirements to go for a dialogue option, you can clearly see that you meet the requirements. There's no randomness there at all. What's been going on in the rest of the wasteland?
Same old shit that's been going on for years. The NCR and Legion are still fighting over Hoover Dam for some reason.
Why?
Never been there since the NCR's got troops all over it. Must be pretty important.
He knows nothing. Tell me about the NCR.
New California Republic. Nothing new about it. Just a bunch of people with money and power pushing everyone else around. They've got troops all over the Mojave. But it's a big desert, so it's pretty easy to avoid them if you want.
What about the Legion?
I've run with some tough gangs, but I gotta admit, they all got nothing on the Legion. I hear they stick you up on poles and it takes a while to die. I ain't saying I'm afraid of them or nothing, but I'll be staying out of their way.
Bye.
Yeah.
I don't want to offer
Hello.
to help him take over this town. Where the hell is that music coming from? There's no radios working here. It's the music box, isn't it? Yep. I could offer to help take the town, but they saved my life. I'm not gonna screw them over intentionally.
Well, you've been causing quite a stir. Glad I finally got to meet you. Welcome to the Prospector Saloon.
Okay, we leveled up. Yeah, it won't allow us to level up until this conversation is over, and I do appreciate that. I overheard your argument. What was that all about?
Looks like our little town got itself dragged into the middle of something we don't want anything to do with. About a week ago, this trader, Ringo, comes into town. Survivor of an attack, he says. Bad men after him. Needs a place to hide. We figured he was just in shock, so we gave him a place to lie low. We didn't actually expect anyone to come after him.
Where is he now?
He's holed up at the abandoned gas station up the hill.
So what are you gonna do about it?
Some of the others, like Sonny, will probably stand up for Ringo if he asks for help, which he hasn't. Personally, I hope he sneaks out of town one night and takes the powder gangers with him.
Powder gangers?
Chain gangs, really. The NCR brought them in from California to work on the rail lines. Problem is, it turns out that giving convicts a bunch of dynamite and blasting powder isn't the best idea. Was a big escape not too long ago. Some of them stuck together so they could make trouble. That's what we're dealing with now.
I'd like to know where they're hiding. A dynamite and gunpowder? Yes, please. I want to be a part of that. Okay, why not just kill Cobb?
You mean murder him? That's not our way, even if Cobb is scum. He can bluster and threaten all he wants.
That's not all he's going to do, and you know it.
All right.
Okay, let's ask about the main thing. I'm trying to track down the people who attacked me. Know anything about them?
Not much, other than they're a bunch of freeloaders who expected a few rounds on the house. I was able to get them to pay up, though. Of course, one of the great cons did knock my radio to the floor, by accident, and it hasn't been working since.
Did they say where they were going?
They were having some kind of argument about it, but the guy in the checkered coat kept shushing them. Sounded like they came in from the north through Quarry Junction. If that's the case, I can't say I blame them for not wanting to go back.
Why not?
That whole area is overrun with the kind of critters that just get mad if you shoot them. Merchants avoid that whole stretch of I-15 like it's radioactive, which it could be for all I know.
So where are they headed?
I didn't hear exactly, but the leader was talking about the strip. Fella wants to get there and avoid the 15, he'd have to go east. Take Highway 93 up.
Okay, this is sort of the game gives you a destination to go after. You can either follow their trail or try to head for the Vegas Strip directly. Either option is good, and I think in character to go after. We could go directly north. I'm fairly confident with that. With the Stealth Boy, sure, we can reach that. Do I want to do it? So we could go meet the the powder gangers too. There's one out of character information I'm going to abuse here. And that is, I'm going to ignore the Ringo quest thing for now. The reason is, it affects the powder ganger faction relationships to the extent that since I'm not going to screw over the town that saved my life, so that's out. Basically, I'd have to side against the powder gangers, and that means screwing the relationship between them to the point that I'll be shot and side. That means all non-hostile relations with them are right off at that point. And I don't want that, so I'm intentionally skipping that quest, at least for now, until I've went to their base and have had a talk to people a little bit there. Okay. Do you know anything about the robot that rescued me?
I know that thing as much as anyone else around here. It mostly keeps to itself, which is just fine by me.
What does it actually do around here?
Other than rolling around once in a while, it doesn't do anything useful as far as I can tell. I don't know why it took an interest in you, but I'd be careful. It's never helped anyone before.
How long has he been in Goodsprings?
It was here when I took over the saloon 7 years ago. Some people have said its owner lived here, but no one knows who it was.
You don't like it?
It acts friendly enough, but I don't trust that whole cheerful cowboy act. I find it all very creepy. Fine by me.
Hmm. Okay, anything interesting going on in the rest of the wasteland?
There's always something interesting going on. But the biggest news has to be the coming dust-up between the NCR and the Legion over the dam.
Tell me about the NCR.
The new California Republic's got the most power in Nevada. Money, troops, you name it. They do what they can to keep things safe in the region. But if you ask me, they're trying to do too much. They're spread too thin.
Yeah, what about the Legion?
Slavers, killers, and all other kinds of trouble. They dress up like Roman soldiers, so there's no mistaking it when you see them. The rumor is that the Legion is far larger than the NCR lets on, and that it's been due to luck that the Legion hasn't overrun the territory.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too good. Why do you think the NCR and the Legion both want the dam? We have a pretty good idea why they want it, but I want second opinions. Maybe I will get to hear something new.
I'm pretty sure the NCR wants to hold on to the dam because it's one of the few places around that can make electricity. The Legion are a bunch of savages, though. No idea why they'd want the dam. Probably plan on destroying it or something.
Yeah, thanks for the info. I could take a look at your radio in exchange for the information you provided.
Sure, the outside looks okay, but I think something broke on the inside. There'd be caps in it for you. I do like to hear what's going on in the world. And that Mr. New Vegas seems like such a gentleman.
Okay. Mm, yeah, let's take a look at that radio.
Be careful out there.
Yeah, we're at level 2. We need repairs 45, lockpick 40, and explosives. We'll need to get explosives to something like 50 quite soon too. Yep. And the reason I wanted to get the repair to 45 right from the start is pretty much this. To have the first perk we can take to be something useful in the long term. We have a few options. Yeah. We could take 10% more total experience, which is fairly useless. We took a negative to that and didn't mind that. Also, since we're level capped to 30, we'll reach that level cap anyway long before we end the game, so why the hell would we want to waste a perk on this? Retention. Bonuses granted by skill magazines last 3 times as long. Not a terrible perk, but not interested. Intense training. 1 point in your attributes. Not bad, but not interested. Heave ho! Quite an arm you got there. All thrown weapons fly farther and faster for you. This is potentially very good. Uh, Here's my reason for not taking it. Biggest problem I've had with grenades so far is not really their range, although sometimes I probably wish, at least in the turn-based mode, that I could throw them a bit farther. The problem is that they have a lot of momentum, I guess, in them, and they can be quite bouncy. So if they fly farther and faster, I would assume they have more momentum and are more bouncy. So in many ways, it would make throwing grenades even more of a pain in the ass than they are already. So although I think this would be very useful in certain circumstances, In general use, it can also be a negative. So that's why I'm sort of ignoring it. Chess, love them. Plus 10 damage against female opponents. So it's a female equivalent of Black Widow. You could get unique dialogue options when dealing with the same sex. Whichever floats your boat, I guess. I would like to take them both for sake of interesting dialogue, but no. We have a very limited number of perks, and I feel we'll have to be very picky on what we'll choose. Black Widow or Churches Latin will probably only be, well, the 10% extra damage naturally is always very good, but I feel the extra dialogue options will be fairly infrequently used, so that alone is not worth the option, especially since I don't know if the Black Widow or the female equivalent is better or not. Yeah, I just don't know. So I'm going with something called the Light Touch. Heavy armor just isn't your thing, so you learn to customize light armor for maximum benefit. While wearing light armor, you gain 5% critical hit chance, and your enemies suffer a minus 25% critical hit chance. So this is me giving the middle finger to power armor, basically. I will not be using medium or heavy or power armor. I'll be using light armor throughout the game. But in order to make that work in any kind of realistic way, I need to take some kind of extra benefit out of it, and these kind of perks help. It's also why I'm using explosives, because a lot of times with explosives you either get them with the first two tries or you don't get them at all. And I can use minefields to kill people while not taking fire from them. So I feel I have enough tricks in my bag to make it through. But I'm still going to need some kind of something extra to make it work, and I'm hoping the extra critical chance and the protection from critical hits will help us through. Yeah, agility 6, repair 45. We could take junk rounds, but you can basically make ammo from scrap metal and tin can. So they're going to be terrible ammunition, but they're ammunition, so you can keep firing your weapons. Not a bad thing, but yeah, compared to the light touch, no competition. I do want to get it out of the way now. That's why I invested in repair. When we're on level 4, I think we'll have to take comprehension, and I'm not sure what after that. But I'm betting that the options will get more interesting as levels go by. So we want to get these type of perks when the perk selection basically would be fairly uninteresting otherwise. So that's why the repair investment at the early game. We're now buffed. Since there's no one here now, we might as well all load up the place. Again, I'm going to be a bit selective in what I loot. Not my enemies or even neutrals, I owe them. So you can keep most of your crap and your floor safe, I think. But I do want to take a look in that safe. Joining. So it's not an ing ending. It's good to know. 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 Hmm. Okay, I missed it. How could I possibly miss it? Ah, careless, careless, careless. It's commits. Yeah, open up the safe. Let's see if there's really something important there. Not really. Different, few different type of weapons, ammunition, money. So she can keep it. We do need food at this point. Gecko steak. And that's all it took to get rid of the nutrition need. You really don't need a lot of food. It's just something you need from time to time. I think you'd need to have a value of something like 200 before you even get the first negative. So that's quite a lot of playing. I'll save a little bit of moonshine. You never know when that comes in handy. We have a few houses left to visit, and we know Ringo is in the old fuel station there. So I do want to meet up with him. I'm not going to offer to help him or anything, but there's one aspect of the game we need to encounter, and that is a card playing minigame. I usually hate them, and I'm not a huge fan of this one either, but it can provide a lot of easy money for us. The one thing about this card game that I like above all I've seen so far in these role-playing games is that it's not luck-based to a great extent. It's skill-based, strategy-based, so we can make it work for us like 95–99% of the time. It's much more preferable than to have some kind of random system where you have very little influence on how you can do in the game. I guess the Might and Magic series would be the worst offender. Uh, Knights of the Old Republic, probably somewhere in the middle ground. And this would be, I would say, a good implementation of an in-game minigame. Because it is a proper game. Ooh, Sarsaparilla Star Bubblecam. It's good because, yeah, pre-war money. It's not luck-based. We have a somewhat limited options at the start because we only have one deck of cards. But even with that one deck, we can secure victories most of the time. With a few extra cards that only cost like 3 bubble caps per card, we can raise our winning chance to pretty much 100%. I feel it's a we get a good return for that minor investment, and it doesn't take all that much time. And most of the time will probably go with me explaining the
You must be the
rules.
one Doc Mitchell was patching up. The way I heard it, I didn't think you'd be walking out of that office. I've got plenty of supplies for sale. Even got some weapon mods and special ammo. Well worth the caps if you ask me. If you're hurting for caps, I've also got boxes of surplus ammo in the miscellaneous section. They're not great, but you get what you pay for.
Okay, this is another guy who sort of explains some of the newer features. So tell me about weapon mods and special ammo.
Weapon mods are things like silencers, scopes, bigger magazines. Special ammo includes things like armor-piercing bullets, which don't hurt the target as much, but let you punch through armor easier. There's also hollow point bullets, which have the opposite effect. You can kill unarmored targets easier, but they don't do shit against armor.
That's pretty much true. I don't want to go too much into ammunition. It's better to see the actual ammunition than me trying to explain it all. So, what makes the surplus ammo inferior?
It's all about quantity over quality. Trouble is, you'll be cleaning and fixing your gun a lot more than usual when you use those kind of bullets.
What do you know? What do you know about this situation with the powder gangers?
If Ringo doesn't head out on his own, I think we should hand him over. The town shouldn't get itself mixed into the problem. Don't mistake that for coward talk, though. We're a town of survivors. We'll fight tooth and nail if pushed, but we don't go looking for trouble.
Okay, do you know anything about the people who attacked me?
The leader was a New Vegas type. Typical city boy. He had a bunch of Great Khans with him, probably hired guns. The Great Khans normally stay in their own territory way up northwest, on account of them being enemies with the NCR.
Yeah, another faction. Anything else you can tell me about the Great Khans?
They're tough sons of bitches. Mean, but not crazy. They'll leave you alone unless you got something they want. The Great Khans deal in illegal chems. There's a good chance that most chems you come across were made by Great Khans.
Okay, that's a good reason for us to get in contact with them. And it's good to know that they're not crazy, so we probably can be in friendly communication with them. I need to secure a good source of chemicals. So, ever been to New Vegas?
Twice. Both times I drank a lot of liquor and lost most of my caps at the card tables. In that order, now that I think about it. If you ever get to New Vegas, be sure to visit Gomorrah. It's the best casino in the city. You won't regret it. Word of advice, behave. Between the NCR military police and Mr. House's robots, you don't want to be causing trouble on the strip.
Do you know anything more about Mr. House?
I'm afraid I don't know much myself. Mr. House has got his own casino, Lucky 38, but nobody goes in or out except his robots. The other casinos follow Mr. House's rules, so I guess that makes him the leader of New Vegas. As far as I know, nobody's ever laid eyes on the guy. I think that robot who pulled you out of the dirt belongs to Mr. House. If Mr. House is looking after you, it's got to be a good thing, right?
So, Victor belongs to Mr. House. But again, he's been here for a long time. But that might be a reason why he dug us out of the grave. We were carrying a chip. I mean a casino chip. That's the item that was stolen from us. So what do you have for sale?
Can do.
Okay, let's look at the different kinds of ammunition. Yep, this is a good way to understand it. Let's look at the assault rifle ammunition. Normal rounds has no mention of anything. It's pretty much how you would expect. Armor piercing, target damage threshold -15. So, and damage times 0.95. So you do 95% of your normal damage, but you punch through armor. 15 points less damage threshold. Damage threshold is automatic reduction of damage. Compared to the hollow point, damage is 1.75, so a huge increase, but target damage threshold gets tripled. So if the target has any kind of decent amount of damage threshold, you ain't gonna do shit with hollow points on him. Absolutely nothing. While armor piercing will do almost normal damage. While a normal round will do reduced damage, but still do damage. So hollow points very powerful against non-armored or low armored targets. Lightly armored, I should say. Armor piercing good against everything. Uh, Normal rounds good against most targets. But yeah, I definitely use armor piercing against everything if they weren't. They're very expensive. Double the price of a normal round, same as hollow point. So you don't want to use the special ammunition in every situation, simply because you can't afford. Not because of the money, but because there's only 7 and 4 compared to the 44 that normal 44 normal rounds. So you want to save them for special occasions. And I think I want to buy the 9mm pistol. That's awesome. I'll also buy 9mm rounds. Hollow point. There's no armor piercing, but there's plus P. So it reduce gun condition, but increase damage and target damage threshold is -2. So it's not all that different from a normal round, but it is more powerful, more damage, a bit better on armored targets. But there's still huge differences between different types of ammunition. Again, 20 gauge. Normal round damage 1.2. 30 is basically the normal one. And slug does not do increased damage or armor piercing, but the gun spread is 0.35 normal, so it reduced basically to 1/3 of normal gun spread, so it hits exactly where you aim it. Probably leads to increased damage on most targets. So yeah, there's every ammunition type, well not every, but has a little bit of a different take on what this ammunition can do. And I'm buying the 9mm ones. I think we have at least one very expensive weapon we can ditch, yeah. Anything else? Surplus ammunition. It doesn't say here what it does. The problem is it's in a box, so we would actually need to buy it to see what it does. There's boxing tape. Inflicts fatigue damage, but it doesn't kill the target, knocks him out. I'm not sure where that would be useful. Doctor back, restore limb condition, so we need these, but I think we have a couple of. Energy cell, normal and overcharge. Again, difference. Energy weapons have a natural damage threshold reduction, so they'll always work at least somewhat against armored opponents. At least better than normal ammunition. Overcharge, increased damage, increase target damage threshold reduction. So different energy ammo types too. Ooh, Jack of Spades, Ultra Deluxe. We don't really need that. Laser pistol. Laser pistol normal and laser pistol's gun runner's arsenal version. The difference here is that the Gunrunner's arsenal weapon modifications only work on the Gunrunner's arsenal weapons. So the weapon is exactly the same as in the vanilla game, but the modifications that it accepts are different than the normal ones. That's the difference. And that's the only difference. Again, pistol, the mods are more expensive than the weapon, but they do things like increase damage +3, replenishes ammunition, basically 1 every 4 shots doesn't get spent, so your ammunition lasts longer. Minor improvements here and there. Again, they're very weapon or equipment specific. So they're not always just a variation of the same thing on different weapons. Every weapon usually has something unique to it. Common elements would be improving condition, like the weapon takes a lot more firing to reduce to 0 condition, or some heavy weapons have something like some kind of light frame that reduces their weight or things like that. So there are certain similarities, but there's usually always something that's pretty much unique to certain weapons. Silenced 22 caliber pistol. Bonus critical damage, bonus critical chance. This might be a good one. Varmint rifle, extended magazines, ammunition capacity +3. Ah, yeah. Wait. I'm getting rid of the varmint rifle. I want it. In general, I'll be dumping a lot of extra stuff. Anything that has weight. I'm certainly not dumping the grenade rifle. Laser pistol, yeah, go. Okay, we're getting a lot of money from this, and we're getting rid of one of the few remaining extra armors we had. I don't like the 9mm submachine gun. I'll show why.
Another satisfied customer. Take it easy now.
And here's the why. Let's take the pistol. The pistol can go there. Okay, submachine. It's not a terrible weapon. Here's why I don't like it. When you use it on the iron sight mode, you're just basically trying to peek through a hole, and it's fairly hard to get anything accurate hit there. It's just a very annoying weapon to use in this way, but you need to use the iron sight to get a lot of accurate hits. Compared to the pistol, it has a fluorescent or phosphorus iron sights or sight, so basically you can use it in a dark area and it doesn't expose your location. And you have a lot of have a lot of visible room around the target. So it doesn't obscure your vision in any real way. It's a very very nice looking pistol. Very comfy to use in a game environment, and it looks quite good. Yeah, just a proper weapon for us. Proper sidearm in addition to our explosives. Okay, we'll just take a quick visit to Ringo and learn about the card game. We'll probably play one too, so I can go over the rules quickly. It's a simple game. Explaining it will probably take longer than actually playing it, but I'll just try to go through the general idea of what I'm trying to do in the game.
That's close enough. Who are you, and what do you want with me?
Yeah, I'm not an enemy if that's what you're asking.
Sorry about the gun. You just caught me off guard, that's all. We got off to a bad start. What say we start over with a friendly game of Caravan? You know how to play?
Sure do.
It's a two-player game, and the winner takes the whole pie. You build a caravan using the cards in your deck. The goal is to create caravan bids that beat your opponent's bids, so there's more strategy than luck involved. It's why you won't see caravan in any casino. Too slow-paced. And more importantly, no house edge. Here, take this holotape. It goes into more specifics about the rules. You'll also need a deck, so take one of my spares. So, you feel like playing a game?
Yeah, let's play.
Don't worry. I'm not that good of a player.
Okay, it's a fairly simple game. I'm not going to go through all the fine details, and I don't think I even know them too. One minor detail though: 100 new California Republic dollars has President Dandy in the picture, so that's quite a nice thing to notice. Nice little touch for the veteran players. Okay, I'll quickly choose my deck. We need at least 50, I think. No, I mean 30 cards. So that's why I'm not being too picky, and there's a reason why I'm picking large cards. It's because we need to go after, we need to build piles of cards that lead to values of between 21 and 26. And the faster we can get there, the better. So there's no real reason to have too many low value cards. It'll just slow us down. Yeah, that's good enough. Let's play. Okay, the goal is fairly simple. You have both sides have 3 piles of cards, and they're paired. So his pile here and my pile here is paired. Here, pair, pair. We aren't battling with each other with all of our stacks of cards, but pairs are really that are toe to toe with each other. The goal of the game is to reach have the stack have a value of 21 to 26. The higher will of the pair will be the leading one, but that's more of a that's not really important right now. Uh, if all 3 pair these card stack pairs have reached, it doesn't matter which side, as long as all of them have reached to a value of 21 to 26, the game ends immediately. That's how the game ends. And at that point, whoever has 2 of the 3 in control, or at a higher value than the opponent, wins the game. And that's it. That's really what the basic is. It always starts at you having to start each of the three stacks of your own sides. So yeah, and it sort of it explains why I want to go for the higher cards, because we're competing in a against him who gets to reach those higher values of 21 to 26 first. So we don't want to take our time, we want to go there fast. You have to be careful about one thing. If the enemy controls or has a win here in one pair, has another pair that is just one card away from reaching a value above 21, you want to be careful if you want to raise a stack over the value of 21 here, because again, once all three pairings have the one have the value above 21, game automatically ends. So you can eh, pretty much lose the game on your own if you are not careful. You have to be timing here is pretty important in that sense. So if you just blindly go after the correct values without thinking, you lose it. Usually you lose the game. But here, this pairing is now decided. It's 23. I can sabotage his stack of cards or raise mine above the 23. But as far as it's counted towards the winning or ending this particular game, this is now decided. So we have to be careful how we play here. I don't want to get this above 21, because even a single card could easily raise this above 21 and he would automatically win the game at that point. So we have to be a little bit careful what to pick. And I'll raise this to 26. It's very hard for him to beat unless he uses a card to sabotage me. And he might. Okay, we won this basically. He won this pairing. I won this, and I can raise this above 21. So it's a 2-1 victory for me. Picture cards in this game are unique cards. I think Jack removes a card. I can play it on my own decks or his decks. Kings double the value of cards. Again, I can play it on his cards or my cards. I don't recall what the Queen does. I don't recall what the Joker does. I don't quite recall what the Ace does. I know they do things that I don't really give a crap about, because they're more of a trickery card that tend to extend the game instead of going for the win, and I'd like to go for the win. So I'm focusing on a fairly simple tactic. High value cards of similar suits, and then have a few jacks and kings to mess around with the enemy and boost my own cards, and that's pretty much it. Um, I want to keep things simple because I don't want to play extended mini games. I want to go for the kill as fast as I can and move on. These don't seem to be Ringo's supplies, so I feel I can just take them. Ringo is not a local anyway, so I don't really give all that much of a crap what he wants or doesn't want. We could talk to him a bit more, but unless we're looking to complete that quest line. I don't see that doing much for us. Probably should move on to new things. Yeah, Ghost Town gunfight. I'm not gonna do that now because I know it'll create a ton of trouble with the party gangers in the way I'm going to do it. So we're much better off just ignoring things and going on our way. We could go to the NCR Correctional Facility, which is the prison. There's also Sloan, south town there, and Prim, which is town south, which is where our killer was headed. They came through Sloan, so we might want to visit there too. Yeah, I think we'll go to the NCR Correctional Facility first, so I can get to talk to people there and get that thing over with. That way, it won't bother us later on. It's not a huge thing, but I'm not even sure I want to be in friendly terms with them. So I want to go into the facility without having to murder everyone and try to get access to the explosives and the gunpowder they have. That's something my character is genuinely interested in, and she likes the fact that they're using explosives in just such a manner. That's something she's totally into. So I guess the correctional facility is where we're heading up next.